Well, I had at least one of your members come up this morning and explain that by leaving when I got up, he wasn't making a political statement, that he had to make a work-related phone call, and he apologized for that. And I told him that I appreciated that notification, and I always assume that people who leave when I get up are doing so because they have warrants for their arrest. I noticed more than one person left, so I have to track down those other 2 or 3. It's my pleasure to be with the Sunrise Rotary Club. Thank you for the opportunity to be here. Today I'd like to talk about some of the issues that have really inflamed our country for the last 3 weeks related to the police, including racism and bias within the criminal justice system. This is not going to be an uplifting morning. I'm sorry. The time we spent together has been wonderful and joyous, and I don't want to be a buzzkill, but I'm going to use you somewhat as a therapy group, and you can bill me afterward if you see fit. So as you know, the shooting of Alton Sterling and Philando Castile, followed by the ambush-style killings of 8 police officers in Dallas and Baton Rouge, those things have really roiled my mind for the last 3 weeks, and I do appreciate the opportunity to be here and speak about it this morning. I really appreciate our President's call for moderation in the tone of public discourse on these topics, which had become superheated, was divisive, was counterproductive. And quite honestly, the President's call for moderation actually helped me calm my thoughts and focus my thoughts, and I really appreciated that. I have been saddened and dismayed at the narrative that has dominated the public discussion related to officer-involved shootings of persons of color. The basic narrative has been persons of color are stopped by the police at a disproportionate rate. Persons of color are searched at a disproportionate rate. Persons of color are arrested at a disproportionate rate. Persons of color are charged at a disproportionate rate, and incarcerated at a disproportionate rate, and shot at a disproportionate rate. Therefore, our criminal justice system is broken, and in the polite version, it's infected with unconscious bias. In the not polite version, it's infected with outright racism. That's the narrative. That's what you hear all day, every day. It's clean, it's easy. The problem must be racist or biased police officers and prosecutors and judges. There you go. Clean, easy. I have to say that even President Obama has helped foster this very simplistic narrative. Over-representation of persons of color in the criminal justice system equals racism or bias. I like the President. In my job, it's important that I stay apolitical to ensure that everybody, regardless of their viewpoint, feels like they'll be treated fairly by their police department. This morning, Judy was kind enough to ask if I'm a member of the Afternoon Rotary, with the hopes that if I wasn't, I would join the Morning Rotary. I don't join any service clubs because I can't show favoritism to anybody. I have to stay neutral before everybody. I've had uber liberal people in this community say, I think I know what your politics are. And I've had uber conservative people say, I think I know your politics. And I like that because I have to be fair. I have to be neutral. So normally I don't talk about politics at all. But like I said, I like President Obama. I've met him twice. And both times, coincidentally, I witnessed him extend kindness, once to me and once to one of my sons, that showed me that he's a caring and attentive and compassionate man. Honestly, if he wasn't termed out, so to speak, I'd vote for him over either of the other 2 candidates that are before us now. However, much as I like him, shortly after the shooting of Alton Sterling in Baton Rouge and Philando Castile in Minnesota, the President spoke to the nation from Warsaw, Poland. He spoke for 16 minutes and 6 seconds. It's on YouTube. Look it up if you want to watch it. He said that those 2 shootings were symptomatic of a broader set of racial disparities in the criminal justice system. He shared that persons of color are stopped by the police 30% more frequently than white, are 3 times more likely to be searched if stopped, are shot by the police twice as frequently as whites, arrested twice as frequently, charged with crimes that carry a mandatory minimum sentence 75% more frequently, and sentenced to sentences that are about 10% longer than white people. And he pointed out that despite the fact that blacks and Latinos only make up about 30% of the U.S. population, they represent 50% of those that are incarcerated in the United States. Only in the last 10 seconds of his speech did he add that we as a society have asked the police to guard the gates, his words, not mine, guard the gates, of communities that we have all forgotten, where access to schools and jobs and opportunities is either lacking or non-existent. 15 minutes and 56 seconds of racism and bias in the criminal justice system, and 10 seconds about other possible causes for these issues. I actually honor President Obama for including those 10 seconds because that's more than otherwise occurs in the public debate. The president isn't alone. The governor of Minnesota said he believed the shooting of Philando Castile would not have happened if the driver of the vehicle that he was riding in was white. He wasn't speaking in generalities about disproportionate race involvement. He specifically said this incident would not have happened if that driver was white instead of black. This is before the investigation is complete. I would ask if the governor knew that specific officer. Does he know his heart? Does he know his racial beliefs? I doubt it. I fear that many feel that law enforcement involvement with persons of color is presumed to be biased unless we prove otherwise. And if that's the standard, then you should consider me a probable racist because I have arrested persons of color. You should also consider me a homophobe because I've taken action against members of the LGBTIQ community. And you should consider me ageist because I've arrested young people and I've arrested old people, if that's the standard of where we're at. In fact, during my time as Sebastopol PD in the last 28 years, I have personally been accused of being biased against black people, Latino people, LGBTIQ people, young people, local people, not local people, rich people, poor people, liberal people, and commercial fishermen. My father has only been on one ride-along with me. He's a retired social science teacher. We made a traffic stop in front of Burns Friendly Market. Coldest beer in town said so right on the building, right? I don't remember what the probable cause was. There were two men in the car. As soon as the vehicle stopped, they both opened their doors and both stood outside the car. Very alarming for me as a police officer.